Drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Everybody, welcome in. Justin McKenna, Kevin Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Happy Friday.
Wait, Friday?
Yes, happy Friday.
No, it's Tuesday, dude.
No. It's our Friday.
It's lit.
It's our Friday. Welcome in. Justin McKenna, Kevin Nash. Last day of the show, at least for this week. We'll be back at it next week. But yes, it's our Friday. Excited to be hanging out with each and every one of you here today. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz joins us. Coming up later on in the show, cap or no cap to open things up. Into some college football conversation as well. Justin Fields starting to make a name for himself in the NFL. But has he put an end to the whole notion that Buckeye quarterbacks can't make it in the NFL? But we did forget one thing. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, dog?
There we go. I knew something felt a little off. All right, let's hit the ground running, Kev. Cap or no cap? That's how we open up today's show, of course, and this is the only time throughout the week where I actually feel kind of cool. And some of you think I'm pretty cool, at least for a very little bit. Not so much. Not so much. Cap or no cap is how we open up today's show. If you have Facebook, head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, jump in the conversation, and jump in on the cap or no cap. Cap or no cap. Kev, explain how cap or no cap works, because I may need
it. Cap means lie. No cap means the truth.
So there you go. So I throw out the statement. If it's a lie, it's cap. If it's the truth, you say no cap. So there you go.
There you go.
It's that simple. It is that simple.
You still got your notes?
No, I don't, actually not because I got it down. It's because I actually just can't find it. But, here we go. Cap or no cap, Kev. Justin Fields has put an end to the perception that Buckeye QBs can't cut it in the NFL. Cap or no cap?
Cap. There's been a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks to win a ton of football games for the Buckeyes and lead them to national championships, but it's always going to be that stigma there until there's multiple guys out there. I mean, it was like that with Alabama quarterbacks before this latest wave with Mac Jones and Jalen Hurts and Tua. Before that, you know, there were guys that won national championships but weren't NFL guys like A.J. McCarron and other guys out there for Alabama. So they weren't perceived as like the place to go get a quarterback. Place to go get a quarterback would be like the ACC or USC or stuff like that. So it's going to take more than just one guy to get over that hump. So I'm going to say cap.
I'm going to say cap as well. Look, I think the one thing about Justin Fields is the fact that we know, I mean, he's only the third quarterback ever to rush for 1,000 yards. We've only seen Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson do it. The only thing I'm going to call Buckeye fans out on, for those who are really high on Justin Fields, is everything you love about Justin Fields is everything that you hate about Lamar Jackson. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say Lamar Jackson is a average quarterback because he can run and can't throw, and then talk about Justin Fields, how great he is because he can run. And, well, we know he can throw. Do we? Because Lamar Jackson could throw in college, and his throwing numbers aren't the worst in the NFL. He's just not an elite thrower. Justin Fields, we remember him throwing the ball in college. We know he was an elite, accurate thrower in college. We chalk up his deficiencies in the passing game in the NFL due to no weapons around him. Well, again, that narrative sounds very eerie similar to Lamar Jackson. So, look, Lamar Jackson, he's not a bad quarterback, by the way. If Lamar Jackson is my quarterback, that's not the end of the world by any means. You know what I'm saying? Like, some are higher on him than others. Justin Fields, some are higher on him than others. I will say, though, I think Justin Fields is one of those. He's one of those feel-good stories right now because he's doing a lot of great things with no help around him.
Mhm.
But here's the problem. They have a ton of cap space. They have a ton of draft picks. And there's going to be a ton of expectations next season. So right now, we know absolutely nothing. He looks the part, but keep in mind, this reminds me very much so, and I'm not comparing him to this player, but comparing him to the circumstances. I remember when the Cleveland Browns came off that 0-16 season, they started, they didn't start Baker Mayfield those first couple of games, Kev, and then they finally brought him in. They won 7 games, and you would have thought they won a Super Bowl. The reason it felt like they won a Super Bowl is because they won 7 games, and they did it because of a quarterback that they put in there, but they didn't win enough to make the playoffs. They didn't win enough to win anything, right? That's kind of like the Bears and Justin Fields right now. He's exciting. He's fun to watch play, but eventually the expectation switch will flip, and then it's really going to come down to can you play or not. So I'm going to say Cap. I don't think as fun as Justin Fields has been to watch this season and as much as it has hurt to watch him play just because he doesn't have help around him, I don't think it puts an end to any narrative that all of a sudden the Buckeye quarterbacks all of a sudden know how to play in the NFL. I'm also not one that buys into the narrative that Ohio State quarterbacks can't play in the NFL.
Right.
I believe that Ohio State has yet to have a quarterback make it in the NFL. But if you could play, you could play.
Yeah.
I don't think that the scarlet and gray
Right.
surrounding a quarterback keeps them or prevents them from being able to play in the NFL. I think that's just nonsense.
It just so happens to be that way. It just so happens to be that way. I mean, you mean to tell me that, JT Barrett didn't do a lot of great things at Ohio State? Not Kirk Cousins, goodness gracious. Krenzel didn't win a national championship at Ohio State. One doesn't necessarily mean anything. I will say this about the recent run of Ohio State quarterbacks. They all have the same quote unquote flaw. It's reading defenses. And when they go from one read to two, they have difficulty getting to their third read. It's with the same thing that was talked about with Dwayne Haskins, same thing that was talked about with Justin Fields, same thing they're talking about with CJ Stroud for his jump to the NFL. And the big thing that Fields did, especially in that Clemson game, was he checked the ball down. That's something that Ohio State quarterbacks didn't really do that well. So that check down's like your third or fourth outlet. So I don't necessarily believe that's on them. Like that's a teaching moment. And obviously the common denominator and all that is Coach Ryan Day. Like, so it's his responsibility to win Ohio State games, not necessarily his responsibility to develop you for the NFL and make you a great NFL quarterback. His job is to make you a great quarterback at Ohio State. So it's just a developmental thing. It's how the offense is run, how they process this stuff. So these are all growing tools for all the quarterbacks, because we look at the NFL draft and we want dudes to come in and hit the ground running because we see Jamar Chase and making an impact. We see all these rookie guys making an impact, but we want the quarterback to come out playing like Patrick Mahomes day one. Well, Patrick Mahomes didn't play like Patrick Mahomes day one because he was on the bench. He didn't play his first game until like December of his rookie year. And that was because the Chiefs already had things on lock already. So it's a process, it's development, and I'm here for it. I want to see CJ Stroud be a top 10 pick and see where it goes.
That was going to be something that we'll get into around the corner. The success or non-success of Buckeye quarterbacks, how much will that have an impact on where CJ Stroud falls or ends up in the draft? We'll get to that coming up around the corner. Moving on, Cap or No Cap. By the way, live on Facebook, the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. You can find myself and Kev Nash there. You can watch the show live, and then throughout Cap or No Cap, or really any segment that we have, you can chime in on the conversation. You're a part of the show as well. So Cap or No Cap, for those of who you are hanging out with us on YouTube and Facebook, Justin Fields has put an end to the perception that Buckeye quarterbacks can't cut it in the NFL. Cap, which means no, that's not true at all, or No Cap. That means you agree that Justin Fields has put an end to the perception that Buckeye quarterbacks can't play in the NFL. So there is that. One comment that already came in, Kev, which doesn't surprise me. Mr. Mark Smith says Burrow. He says no Cap. Well, if that's the case, then this really is Cap, because that means Georgia. This is a Georgia quarterback. If we're gonna play by those rules,
I'm sure some Georgia fans out there claiming them.
They're as dumb as the Buckeye fans that try to claim Joe Burrow.
I'm sure there's Bama fans out there claiming Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's Texas A&M fans out there claiming Kyler Murray before he had a terrible season.
I don't know how many people claim Kyler Murray, but maybe. And you know who
Texas Tech fans were claiming Baker his first game with the Rams.
Nothing makes me more proud to be a Buckeye than watching Tate Martell, man. That's how you know you're a fan. Cap or No Cap, moving on. You shot this note over to me earlier today, and I got to thinking about it, but Cap or no cap, Kev? In today's college football, having the number one transfer portal class is more important than having the number one recruiting class in today's college football. One more time. Cap or no cap? Cap means that's a lie. No cap means you agree. Having the number one transfer portal class is more important than having the number one recruiting class in today's college football.
Ouch.
Cap or no cap?
Ouch, ouch, ouch. Let me preface this by saying it all depends on where your program is. That being said, considering the two teams that I root for are Ohio State and Florida State, which are vastly different programs. Florida State right now is killing it in the transfer portal because they don't have that necessary depth that they need to get over the hump. Now, where Ohio State has that depth, they don't need to hit the transfer portal. They can pick and choose if they need to. They went and got Trey Sermon because they needed a running back. Another year they went and got the kid from Rutgers to fill in a spot at the offensive line. I think, what's the question again? One more time, because this really got me thinking. I don't even know what I'm going to answer.
One more time. So having the number one transfer portal class is more important than having the number one recruiting class in today's college football. So, for instance, Texas A&M had the number one recruiting class for this past season. However, and I don't know the answer to this as far as who had the number one transfer portal class, but usually USC. And look at the success that USC had. And by the way, I'll jump in front of you real quick.
Yeah, please do.
So having the number one transfer portal class is more important than having the number one recruiting class. I'm going to say hesitantly, and I think it's on a case-by-case basis. I don't think there's enough sample size out there to definitively say it. But I have watched Michigan State maybe. Michigan State closed the gap very, very quickly. In the old school college football ways of having to come in and recruit your own guys and build through the recruiting rankings, Mel Tucker would have needed probably 2 to 3 years before he even saw anything slightly change success-wise. He saw it right away because of the transfer portal. Lincoln Riley going to USC. USC is a program that's been kind of swimming in place, running in place, whatever you want to use for that. He comes in and he gets Addison and he gets obviously, Caleb Williams, who goes on to win the Heisman, and all of a sudden they are one game and potentially an injury away from getting to the college football playoff. Ding. I thought I set you up perfectly for that.
Shouts out to the Utes.
I'm going to say no cap. I do think it's important because look at Texas A&M. And I kept telling people, people are like, how do you have the number one recruiting class and lose this many games this year? Because the number one recruiting class this year means absolutely nothing because those guys aren't stepping foot on the field right away. I think it's more important in today's college football to be dominant in the transfer portal. And I'm going to say hesitantly, and I hate to say it because I don't like that, but I do think I think it's trending in that direction. So I'm going to say no cap.
I'm going to go with cap because I'm going to look at the teams that are in the college football playoff right now. Georgia has 0 transfers on their roster. Ohio State has 3. One of them is a kicker. I'm not sure about TCU. I know Michigan has a couple on there. The teams that swim in the transfer portal world and live and die by it, I don't think that's going to work for them long term because it's so many ebbs and flows. You saw with Sparty last year and Coach Mel Tucker through the roof because they hit on all their transfer portal guys. And this past season, they didn't hit on their guys, and then they're watching bowl games like you and me. So I think it's more of a sure thing when you can actually recruit your guys from the 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade and develop a culture if that culture is able to stick around like a Georgia, like an Ohio State. So I'm still going to go with having the number one recruiting class out of the high school ranks.
You're not. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this. However, I think that USC might change that. And there's a program right now, like for instance, if I'm a Colorado fan, I don't think they exist, but if they do, more power to you. If I'm a Colorado fan right now, if Deion Sanders goes out and has the worst transfer portal class in college football, but has the number one recruiting class in 2024 taking over Buffalo, I don't really care about that 2024 recruiting class. What do you got for me now? Look at the guys he's bringing in from the HBCUs from his program at Jackson State. Look at all the guys he's already. I mean, he got a running back to already flip from Notre Dame, which was a big deal to Colorado. It's the first 5-star flip that they've had in 20 years. That's pretty impressive when you think about the perception of Colorado football and Deion Sanders. I think if I'm a Colorado fan, just looking at that program alone, I don't care about what players you're looking at in the high school ranks. I care about, okay, who are you bringing over? What guys are you bringing over? To be honest, I think this is going to be a wash question when it's all said and done. I don't think you could do it one way or the other. I don't think you can, like you talk about Georgia. Georgia still, they're the most polished program in football right now because they're just that dynasty, that quiet dynasty that we all look at Alabama, but it's Georgia. And you talk about Ohio State. Ohio State's losing ground a little without evidence to back that up as far as on-field production. But I think we might be embarking on that. If
we're going to find out tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. So I say this because I think you have to be both. I think you have to be balanced. I don't think you could be a program that only focuses on the transfer portal. And I also don't think you could be a program that says, like Ryan Day, I thought he sounded a little archaic early on about a year ago when he started talking about the transfer portal is not something that they're interested in. They're interested in building a program. Well, that sounds cute. And that sounds like the bumper sticker stuff and all that. That's fine. But Deion, look at what Lincoln Riley did at USC. Quick. That was quick. Okay. They weren't like, it's not like they didn't have any deficiencies, but man, they went and addressed every important hole that you needed to address: quarterback, wide receiver, playmakers, at least on the offensive side of the ball.
I was just about to say.
He hit that, so, and he did it again already. Lincoln Riley went out. He loses Addison, the transfer from Penn State. And who'd you say he got?
Oh, yeah. He got the
Pac-12
Pac-12's best receiver from Arizona and probably going to get his teammate too.
So, yeah, it's
for
going to be balanced in both.
Absolutely. Yeah. But for me, I'm looking at On3 transfer portal rankings right now.
Is that another Buckeye blogger site?
It's something like that. So right now, currently, Arizona State has the number 1 transfer portal recruiting class. Florida State number 2, UCLA 3, Michigan number 4, TCU number 5, USC 6, Oklahoma State 7, Duke 8, UCF 9, and Sparty at 10. So those are the top 10.
They have a legitimate transfer portal ranking list now.
Yes.
I'm fascinated by that. That's going to be fun all offseason, Kev. You know what? I lied. I love the transfer portal. Thought I hated it. I love it from a content standpoint because there's now going to be multiple ways to build programs. The Colorados have a shot now because of the transfer portal. It's where I thought that, oh no, all the good players are just going to go to the good team. Well, you get the right coaches in the right spots and you have opportunities to immediately better your program.
Right.
Colorado, USC, those are going to be prime examples of that. We'll see.
For me, I'm looking at this list and obviously the teams that jump out to me are Michigan and TCU because they're in the college football playoff. So that means success. Like they're getting the guys that they're going to be losing to the NFL or transfer portal. They're gaining guys as well. So that's kudos to those two programs. And then I think about it from the other standpoint of you talk about it from a content point. This would be so much better if the deadline or whatever the deadline is going to be for the transfer portal, this phase of it to be right now, but their early signing period basically going away if it went back to March, because you get to stretch this thing out. You get to talk about bowl games, transfer portal, guys entering the portal, guys picking their new destination, then the college football playoff. And then you talk about the high school guys signing on the dotted line in February. You stretch your product out longer. And it's much like how we talk about with the NFL. Basically, every single month, the NFL has a splash event. And college football can do that as well. You have your season, and then in December you have your transfer portal season. Then you have your college football playoff in January, and then you have your early signing period in February, and then you have your spring practice going on in March and in April. They need to make me in charge of college football. Make your product stretch like the NFL does. You're the little brother of the NFL. Why not mirror what they do in the NFL?
They're the ultimate feeder system in all of sports.
Facts.
That's for sure. If you're just tuning in, cap or no cap, that's what we are in the midst of right now. We'll step away for a few minutes and pick up right where we left off. A couple people chiming in here. Kev, Adam Selzner on Facebook. Let's get this where people can read this. Adam Selzner on Facebook says cap on transfer portal over recruiting class. And if you're just joining us, by the way, I said having the number one transfer portal class is more important than having the number one recruiting class. in today's college football. Cap, that's a lie. You disagree, or no cap, you agree. So on Facebook, Adam says cap on the transfer portal over the recruiting class. So he disagrees. He says the most successful schools who remain successful have better recruiting classes over the transfer portal. Adam, I get that, but the sample size of transfer portal classes is so small that a lot of the programs you're alluding to are still winning off of the success of the model of recruiting classes. Right now, we're, you know what I mean, like Georgia and Ohio State, we're talking about those two classes, those two programs are built off of that old model where it's all predicated around recruiting classes. And Texas A&M is just diving into the deep end with the recruiting classes as far as, eventually I think we might start to see, you talk about NIL kind of evening out. It might flatten out to where money's not being thrown at the high school players anymore. Now it's going to be to, okay, I know who you are, DJ Uiagalelei. I know you're not elite, but I know you're good enough to come here and make a difference for our program. Come here. I think that's where we might start to see a shift in that too. So, Adam, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't think we've seen enough of the transfer portal rankings to be able to have a definitive answer on, oh no, only recruiting classes programs are successful, because USC and potentially Colorado might put an end to that theory. Right there. More comments coming in. Mark Smith says it's like free agency, no cap. So saying, I don't know what he's saying. What's he saying?
Says true.
Says
true.
Let's see. There you go. No cap. You're better right now. Sean Matthew on Facebook. So the transfer portal. And like I said, I think it team by team basis.
Yeah, it's definitely a team by team basis. I mean, Ohio State doesn't have as many needs as a Colorado. Colorado needs a lot of help. I mean, they were like 1-11 this past season, so they need everything. They need punters, they need long snappers, they need quarterback, they need wide. They need it all. While Ohio State or Alabama, like, they need to sprinkle in here, like, all right, man. Well, maybe we need another offensive lineman. Maybe we need a DB to sprinkle in there. So yeah, it's definitely different for every single program. I'm looking at some of this other stuff, man. Where'd it go? I just had it. So I'm looking at right now, Nebraska has 3 transfers coming in, 13 going out. And a lot of those programs that are going to have a lot of guys going out obviously have new head coaches. You have Wisconsin, 8 guys already hit the transfer portal, only 1 coming in. So this is very interesting.
Wisconsin, that's where Quitter Fickle went, right?
How's he a quitter?
He quit on the Bearcats.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, by the way, if he would have announced yesterday that he was taking the Wisconsin job, that's how you do it. The Bearcats, they played this past weekend without their head coach. Bum. No, I mean, it's my favorite Christmas carol. Bum, 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 bum.
Was you calling Fickle a bum when he was guiding that defense, the Silver Bullets, to the national championship?
Anyone could have led that talent.
And recruited that talent too, right?
Quitting on your team, you bum, 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 bum.
You just don't like him, man. You just don't like him. You still hold him accountable for the year that he was the interim head coach.
You're not going to win at Wisconsin because you're a bum, 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 bum.
I don't know, man.
Bum,
I don't know.
Bum. Wisconsin is not a dream job, you bum, 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 bum.
There goes that interview.
Kenner doesn't interview the Wisconsin head football coach because he's a bum, bum, bum.
He's a Buckeye. He's a former Buckeye.
He's a Badger.
He played for the Buckeyes.
Man, I might have more Christmas carols coming your way.
Oh, gosh.
They weren't really the 4th best team last year.
Oh,
he's a bum, 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 bum.
You need to listen to me, man. Didn't I call that Sauce Gardner was going to have an outstanding year? Did I say he was going to be a first round?
You know why he did that? Because Sauce Gardner is not a bum, bum, bum.
He recruited him.
We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy, a high near 40. Tonight's going to be partly cloudy and cold, a low near 22. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy, a high near 42. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Folks, does your animal's sleeping quarters look like a mud pit? Well, we've got bedding. Fine, medium, large, curly, and cedar. Make your animal's living quarters great again with bedding from Homestead Feed and Supply. New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Are you drawn to a career in public service that takes you into the great outdoors? ODNR is looking for its next class of natural resources officers, a group set to protect and serve Ohioans.
I've always wanted to work outside and wanted to work with people and be a part of a team as well. Those experiences led me to becoming a natural resource officer.
Find out if you have what it takes. Go to ohiodnr.gov/get-hired to apply.
Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great night out with friends this holiday season. Everyone loves to bowl. Plan your family holiday get-together at Polking Bowling Centers. Bowling offers an exciting family experience. Remember, Polking Bowling Centers are safe, sanitized, and socially distanced. Let the good times roll at Polking Lanes in Dayton, on Wilmington Avenue, Polking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kingsridge Drive. It's a memorable time for everyone, so come out and share the fun of bowling.
Need an online notary? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. We can notarize your documents remotely at no charge to you. All you need is a smartphone or laptop. Visit courthouse2u.com for more info.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits a $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus pots free. Let them get what they really want.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. Menards.com and upgrade today.
Power tools make great Christmas gifts, and Menards carries a great selection of power tools and accessories. Dremel has developed high-quality tools and accessories you need to bring your ideas to life. With compact and versatile designs, Dremel rotary tools, oscillating multi-tools, and compact saws are up to a multitude of tasks for any homeowner. Right now, save big money on Dremel tools. Plus, give the perfect gift with the Menards gift card.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Kick off the holiday season at Club Oceano Seafood and Bar. Our Scratch Kitchen offers seafood entrees unlike anywhere else. Or if you prefer, a delicate steak cooked to perfection, paired with a handcrafted cocktail or a glass from our extensive wine list. Club Oceano Seafood and Bar at the Green. Perfect for lunch, dinner, or a special occasion. Private room seats up to 50. The best happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 to 6. Complimentary valet parking Friday and Saturday evenings. Club Oceano Seafood and Bar at the Green. Make your reservation today.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Updated COVID vaccines are here, just in time for the season that brings us all closer. Just in time for added protection against the original COVID virus and Omicron. Just in time for crowded stores and great big family dinners. Updated COVID protection is here. And if you haven't had a vaccine since September, it's time to give yourself the gift of updated protection. Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Justin Kinner back with you here, and Kev Nash, sorry.
Hello.
Justin Kinner and Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Sean Matthew on Facebook, Kev, he says, Kinner's Christmas carols are why I listen. Like, I stole that right from Larry the Cable Guy. I'm not creative or anything enough to come up with my own stuff like that. Are you kidding me?
Why you hate Fickle, man?
Because he quit on the Bearcats.
No, you were hating on him long before he got a new job.
Because he's a phony. He's a phony. When I've explained this, like I've told this story 100 times. I think he's a phony. When he went to interview for that Michigan State job, him and his family got in a private jet headed towards Lansing that Michigan State sent to him. So all the reports talking about him and his family got in you don't pick up the family to go do an interview to find, like that's just weird. Then he comes back after the program that had all these potential sanctions against it, didn't know what the sanctions would be. They were just in total disarray. Take that program or go back to Cincinnati for a year or two to win with the talent you have over there and then take the next big job that comes your way. And guess what he did? Which is fine. That's what coaches do. But don't come back and do the loyalty campaign. That's the stuff. That's the thing that makes me nauseous. No, this is where God has called me to be, and just doing all that weird stuff. Like, stop. No. Just say Michigan State was not in a good enough position for me to make this jump right now. I'm excited to still have a chance to stay with Cincinnati, but the loyalty campaign that, this is where, loyal to the Bearcats, loyal to them, the Bearcats promoting how loyal he is to that. I'm like, oh God, you guys make me sick. You guys make me sick.
Well, the Bearcats have to do that.
Well, they're dumb too. And look at the mistake they made with their hire.
Oh, yeah. Wow. We definitely agree there.
'Tis the season to be jolly. Oh, Kenner. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's pick up with cap or no cap. The first couple no caps, or cap or no cap, or whatever the hell you want to call it, cap or no cap. First one, Justin Fields has put an end to the perception that Buckeye quarterbacks cannot cut it in the NFL, cap or no cap. The second one was, having the number one transfer portal class is more important than having the number one recruiting class in today's college football. We're now moving on to the NFL, Kev, back to the NFL. Odell Beckham Jr., Jerry Jones, I guess, on his radio show today, said that as each day goes by, it's becoming more and more bleak the Dallas Cowboys and OBJ get a deal done. So the question is, or the cap or no cap phrase is, OBJ needs the Dallas Cowboys more than the Dallas Cowboys need him, cap or no cap?
Wow, that's a great question. I'm going to go with – that's a great question. I'm going to go with no cap. I'm going to go with no cap because nobody else is even interested in him. The only team that constantly comes up is the Dallas Cowboys. You heard rumblings about the Giants, but you haven't heard him being down in New York before or up in New York before. All the thing you hear is OBJ saying me and Saquon got unfinished business. Well, there's no contract on the table. There's no conversation about him going back to New York. You heard early conversations about him going to be with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, but the constant was the Dallas Cowboys, and his phone's not ringing anymore. So I'm gonna go with no cap, man, because they're the only team out here trying to get him or even remotely having interest in him.
Mark Smith says traffic jam northbound 75, stuck listening to Kenner, no cap. Thanks for the traffic update, my dude.
Appreciate you, man.
But on this cap or no cap, OBJ needs the Dallas Cowboys more than the Dallas Cowboys need him. I'm going to say no cap as well. And look, bottom line is OBJ's name is bigger than his talent. And I think you could phrase it this way. You think like teams like the Bengals and the Bills and the Chiefs and some of the Super Bowl contenders. I don't know if Dallas your eyes might be different. I don't view Dallas as a Super Bowl contender. I think the gap between them and the Eagles is still wide. I'm not talking about this matchup on Christmas Eve, considering the Eagles are all banged up. But is there a team out there that can you definitively say that there's a team out there that is an OBJ away from being a Super Bowl lock or a non-Super Bowl contending team that is an OBJ away from being a Super Bowl contender?
No.
So that right there is why I say no cap as well. OBJ, what he is looking for is stability. What he wants is a multi-year contract. I mean, I don't know the exact dollars that he's looking for, but he also has come. And by the way, I don't have a problem with players saying they know their worth. Go chase your worth. I have no problem with that. But what you can't do is if teams don't give you what you think you are worth, you can't just scream that, oh, they're the bad guys in this. Because I actually think Jerry Jones, who gets beat up all the time for decision-making, I think he's right in this where he's being a little reluctant to die. Jerry Jones is always one of those, loves to spend money. He's weary about this because he needs to see it before he could believe it. But, I mean, if OBJ is what he believes he is, and OBJ is what we saw the glimpses of in the Super Bowl last year, Jerry Jones has no problem paying for that.
Right.
But Jerry Jones needs to make sure that is who he still is. And all of these injuries and the fact that doctors have said that it's not healing correctly and all of these things, I don't blame Jerry Jones for being reluctant to dive into the deep end when it comes to paying OBJ. OBJ has to be realistic that he doesn't have leverage here. If he had leverage here, he would have teams lined up out the door for his services, and he doesn't. So, no, I'm saying no cap. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys need him more than he needs them. He needs a team that's willing to entertain. The Cowboys are the only one that, to your point, has even entertained the idea of paying him, not just signing him. Of course, there's teams that want to sign him, but are there teams out there that are willing to pay him? The Cowboys are willing to pay him, but they need to see something first. And I think that OBJ needs to change his mindset that he probably is going to, whether he likes it or not, have to sign a 1-year little show and tell type of contract. Like, you go show me you could do this and the money's yours. But that, to me right there, that shows that he's not being smart business-wise, proves that I don't even think he believes he's going to return to what he was. Because if he believed that, he would just go, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do my thing, get my money, get my bigger contract. But he's either reluctant because he doesn't believe he's the player he used to be, or, and I don't blame him for this, terrified of getting injured again. I also don't blame him for that.
He's 30 years old. We always got to remember that.
Damn, he's old.
He's old in football years. He's 30 years old in football years. And by the time next season rolls around, November is his birthday. He'll be 31, obviously. But you're coming off of that major injury in the Super Bowl. If he doesn't get injured in that Super Bowl, he has a contract with, I don't know, name your team, be it the Cowboys, be it back with the Rams or whomever he wanted to sign a contract with. People would have been banging down his door to sign him if he doesn't get injured in the Super Bowl. But you tore up the knee, you had surgery, you came back slow from that, and then you tore up the same knee again. No fault of your own. This isn't your fault. This is just how it goes when you play professional sports. You get hurt, you have to pay the consequences, especially when you're over the age of 30. hey man, let's see how your body responds to this. And like we all know, everybody's body doesn't bounce back the same way. Maybe he's not as explosive, maybe he's not as fast as he once was, because when you're a player that relies on quickness and speed, if you don't have said quickness and speed, you're no longer that same player. He's not a T.O. where he's a Greek Adonis and just muscling people and deboing them out the way. He's a speed receiver. So if he doesn't have that speed, then he's worthless. So all these teams need to see if he still has that speed and still has that burst, if they're going to be able to give him a contract that he's looking for. But like I said, if he doesn't tear up his knee in the Super Bowl, we're not even having this conversation, because he's probably playing for the Rams still, or playing for the Cowboys with a fat contract, because that's the reason why he doesn't have a contract, because his knee is messed up.
Where I see this trending, I think he ends up back in Cleveland next season. Could be the Giants, could be the Cowboys, yes. But where I think he ends up could be in Cleveland. Let me say it this way. If teams aren't willing to give him that multi-year deal, and I don't think Cleveland's willing to give him that multi-year deal, but I also know that Cleveland knows you can't keep going against the Bengals with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. You can't go against the Chiefs with their firepower. You can't go against the Bills with their fire. The Browns have a solid wide receiving core, but it's not elite. It's not good enough. They need something else. I don't think it's OBJ, but where I see it going is because we saw a lot of the recruiting happening, earlier in the season with, David Njoku and Amari Cooper and guys like that talking about, and Deshaun Watson and him have a good relationship. I don't think OBJ wanted to go to Cleveland not knowing what the situation with Deshaun is, but now that Deshaun's playing, I could see that being a potential situation there, because there's no good wide receivers in free agency, and there's really not a whole lot of options for the Browns in the draft right now. So that might be their only weapon whenever it's all said and done. We'll see what happens. Cap or no cap? Ron Howard, Kev says OBJ, bum, 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 bum. Christmas. Everyone's in the Christmas spirit. I like it. All right, moving on. Last one here. The Steelers and Ravens, Kev, have both been the face of the AFC North for well over a decade. Decades, if you will. Based on the current roster construction, the AFC North now belongs to the Bengals and the Browns, the two teams that are normally looking up in the AFC North. Cap or no cap?
No cap. No cap. Belongs to the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals have a very good defense. They got a real good quarterback, and he got a lot of dudes to throw the ball to. And it looks like the offensive line is starting to gel. He's not getting beat up every single play. So I believe it belongs to the Cincinnati Bengals first, then the Cleveland Browns, and my beloved Steelers and the Ravens are about to be fighting it out for third place for probably the next 3 to 4 years.
So I'm going to say, based on current roster construction, no cap. It's the Bengals division.
With all that said, they're only a half a game up over the Ravens.
I'm with you 100%. And,
it's crazy.
And the Ravens probably, if they have Lamar win ugly games, they probably might still be in first place.
Or not blow double-digit leads in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So with that being said, it may be it's the Bengals division for at least the next 3 years. The Browns will be right there competing for the division for the next 3 years. However, I do think that could change if what I think is going to happen this offseason. And what I think is going to happen this offseason is I think the Steelers go after Derek Carr. The Steelers, Kev, they're not contractually built to keep waiting for Kenny Pickett to figure it out. And rather than they have I was heard them talk about this morning that, that he makes Derek Carr only has a couple more years left of high level football, whatever high level football is. Is he the best? If Derek Carr comes to the AFC North, he might be the worst quarterback in that division, but that might be the best quarterback division in football. If he's your worst quarterback in that division, that's pretty dang good. Who knows what the future of Lamar Jackson is, whether it's in Baltimore or not. I think he is for another year. Maybe they pay him, maybe they don't. I don't know what's going to happen there. We keep talking about it's all about money. Maybe Lamar is saying, hey, I maybe would take that $50 million that you offered me, but I also need the $50 million and some kind of idea that you're going to freaking help me, because this idea that I'm the one to blame for everything when I'm doing my job, but you've given me no, we're going to say Burrow's great, but he has T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase around him. And I have Mark Andrews, which is not a scrub by any means, but you're bringing a Mark Andrews to a T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase fight. That ain't going to get it done. Like, it's just not. So for me, I think Derek Carr ends up in Pittsburgh next season, and if that's the case, I think that they would make a run for that second spot in the AFC North against with Cleveland. But yeah, I think it's for the next 3-year window, the Bengals and the Browns in the AFC North. But it's going to be a competitive division. The Steelers are supposed to be ass this year.
We are. Don't worry, we stink.
But they win. They win games. Like Kev, they're still within the playoff picture, and it's late December.
Right there, holding on at the 11th spot.
But that's a Steelers rebuild. This is what, Browns fans, us losers, we're sitting here saying, well, just remember, not even a couple years ago, we were 0-16. So we're supposed to be happy that we're, 2 games under 500 in late December when you have all this money on this roster. That's not good for Pittsburgh. You got to drive me crazy. I hate Pittsburgh.
Please, for goodness sakes, Steelers, draft Paris Johnson, Buckeye, or whomever is the number 1 offensive tackle. Whoever it is, if it is Paris Johnson, draft him. If it's Bob Jones, wherever he plays college football, draft him. For goodness sakes, please, oh please, fix the offensive line. And now that you don't pay anybody, the only 2 guys that are on the team that make a lot of money are T.J. Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick. You have a lot of money to spend in free agency, so fix the offensive line. Go ahead and draft a young dude at the tackle. Go get the best center on the market available, and then I'll see what Kenny Pickett has. And, fire Canada, and then go hire Frank Wright to be the offensive coordinator, and then I'll be happy again.
So you're saying the option, do not get Derek Carr?
No, I'm good. I like DC, but I don't. I want to give Kenny Pickett a fair shot. They're not in salary cap hell like they were when Ben was there. I would prefer seeing Kenny Pickett with a Frank Wright as being the offensive coordinator. He got fired from being the Colts, but he was also the OC back when Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. I know Doug Peterson was really calling the plays, but Frank Wright still a good offensive mind. I would love to see him be the OC of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Come to the Steelers for a year or two, quote unquote, prove your worth to the league again. Go find another head coaching job after fixing my team, fixing my offense.
And there you go. That was Cap or No Cap. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Have you been naughty or nice this year? Cash don't care. At Jackson Hewitt, you could still get up to $4,500 for the holidays. Some bucks now, more bucks in January. So be naughty. Snap up all the ginger snaps. Wear a pretty sweater to an ugly sweater holiday party. You could still get up to $4,500 when you go to Jackson Hewitt today. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Finance charge may apply.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
Want to make tonight's dinner a true winner? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 12-piece family meal at a great price. You'll get 12 pieces of our classic Famous Recipe Chicken that's honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and pressure-cooked just right, along with 3 of our large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. This is temptation times 12. Get the family meal that's big on flavor and on value with the 12-piece family meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Dell's Days of Deals start now with savings on select PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Down the sideline to the 10 and drags a defender in the end zone for a touchdown. Jackson Smith-Njigba, a 50-yard scoring strike from C.J. Stroud. He'll hit the Purdue 40. Down the left side to the 30. Henderson to the 20 to the 10. And into the end zone goes Henderson.
Don't miss the Buckeyes all season long. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on 92.9 Jack FM. Go Bucks!
And we are back. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Ryan Holzapple said the Steelers aren't giving up on Kenny Pickett after using a first-round pick on him. The Steelers under Mike Tomlin don't do that. I know, but the Steelers under Mike Tomlin also don't lose. And sometimes when you win, it allows you to stick to what you do arrogantly. And sometimes when you experience that losing, and there's been a lot of losing for Pittsburgh, despite the fact that they haven't had that under 500 season yet. Maybe they still avoid that, Kev. That's still a possibility, by the way. Like that's what that's the one thing that Tomlin and you have to hate is the fact that the odd amount of games now, even you can't have a 500 season.
Right.
It has to. It's either
Win it,
winner or loser.
loser.
There is no in between. But no, Ryan, I definitely get what you're saying. But a lot of times, like right now, Bill Belichick's a prime example. There was always the Belichick way. Well, it's easy to have a way when you win, but then watch since they've lost, he's done a lot of weird things. He's done a lot of outside but the way the Patriots are losing and Steelers are losing, it's not necessarily the same. Like Tomlin has kept that. Like, man, Tomlin's now that I think about it, Tomlin has done a better job without. Like we're saying, Belichick's bad because he didn't have the quarterback. Tomlin hasn't had a quarterback in a while, and they still play hard and they still play smart Tomlin football. Like that is what's crazy. There is like Belichick. You watch the Patriots, it doesn't feel like Belichick's Patriots. No matter, and it's not just because there's no Tom Brady or not. The Steelers, they haven't had a healthy Big Ben or a good Big Ben for a while. They don't have a Big Ben this year. But when you watch the Steelers, it still feels like Mike Tomlin's Steelers. It's a very weird dynamic.
Yeah, they're hanging in there. They hang in all the games. I mean, in games that you're expecting to get blown out in, they're still just mucking it up, hanging around. And, as a fan, I can appreciate that. And the thing about it is the reason why you don't make the trade for an established quarterback who has a chunk salary is because, all right, we finally got rid of a quarterback that had a big salary, and I say get rid of. He retired, our Hall of Fame quarterback finally fell off the cliff, and he was no longer any good, and he finally retired. So we don't have to pay him a ton of money anymore. Kind of basically trying to reset things to try to get back to the model of, all right, you don't have to pay a quarterback a lot of money. Let's build up all the things around that quarterback and then go for it. Basically win it in a rookie contract type of situation like that has become so popular in the NFL. That's the main reason I wouldn't go out there and go get a Jimmy G or Derek Carr or anything like that, because you see so many young quarterbacks able to get it done because they have guys around them. So like, that's my whole thing. I want to get to a point like, all right, this year is going to be the first year where they have a lot of money to play with the salary cap. You can go ahead and fix the offensive line with veteran guys, and you can go get a rookie here and sprinkle it around that way. Use that money for multiple guys as opposed to one guy.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So this one came in right here. Ryan Holzapple said, how many draft picks do the Browns have the next 2 to 3 years? How many picks do they give up for Watson? They're gonna build the team up through free agency. Bottom line is, I think so. Here's my view of how Cleveland's going to operate here in the near future. Here's my hot take, Kev. You ready for this?
Let's do it. Nick
Chubb or Myles Garrett will not be on the team in 2024. One of the two.
What year is this? Okay, so after next year.
So this next season will be the last that both of them are on the team together. You can get first rounders back, and you can get them back in a hurry. You can get them back pretty quickly. I think if after next year, because they have Amari for one more year after, so they have him for 2 more years, I think they could move on from Amari if they needed to, like if things go south in any of these years with injuries or anything. Bottom line is this: Cleveland's not in as bad a shape as everyone makes it out to be. You got to understand the whole all the draft picks, everyone's goal every year in the draft is to what? Get a quarterback if you don't have a quarterback. And if you do have a quarterback, guess what you're usually drafting? Late in the first. And you're not getting a whole hell of a, I'm not saying you get nothing. I'm definitely not saying you get nothing, but it's not like you're losing out on the elite of the elite at the top of the first round. But the Browns, I mean, they have second and third round picks over the next couple of years. They're missing multiple second, third, first rounders and stuff coming up until for the next 2 years. But Kevin, 2025, in 2 years, okay, in 2 years, they have all their draft picks. And they're going to get some of these draft picks back. They're going to move on from Nick Chubb, or they're going to move on from Myles Garrett here in the next year. That's my prediction. For one, you're not going to be able to keep everybody.
Right.
You get 1 more year of Deshaun. Deshaun's salary will be about, I think $8 million against the cap next year. I think it's like $3 million or something this year. Or no, $1 million. It's $1 million against the cap because that's what they suspended him for, whatever it was. So that's where that is. Look, are they in the perfect setup? Absolutely not. But that's what you do. You have to get a quarterback. This idea that the Browns are ass for the rest of the eternity because they gave up a lot of draft picks to get, that's what you do. By the way, bite me for everyone out there that has a problem. Not you, Ryan, necessarily, but I know where you're going with this. Y'all need to stop with this mindset that the Browns are bad because they gave up a lot of draft picks to get Deshaun, because everyone was wetting their pants with excitement when the Broncos gave up their entire everything to go get Russell Wilson. If you want to talk about a franchise that's in really big trouble, go look at the Broncos. That's the franchise y'all need to be directing your hate and disgust for, because that's the franchise that really is in bad shape. The Browns actually got an elite quarterback. They gave up a lot of draft capital to do it, but he's worth it. He's worth it. You know, it's no different than what the Bengals are about to give up to keep their quarterback. They're going to pay a crap ton as well. And if he is as good as what you guys say, you're going to be picking late in every one of these rounds anyways to begin with. I mean, come on. The whole purpose of the NFL, you have to have an elite quarterback to win. Now, you can win games without an elite quarterback, but you're not going to win the big one without the quarterback. Yes, you're going to drop in guys like Jimmy Garoppolo who got there, but you want a guy that's going to give you a chance every year, or a guy that, well, you have a shot to get there if everything else is correct. Look, the Browns did take aside the moral side of this, okay, which we can all agree on the moral side. I don't think there's anyone out there that does not agree that morally what the Browns did was a little iffy. I could even acknowledge that, but that doesn't take away the fact that they went and got an elite quarterback. That's what you have to have. All right, that's what you have to do. All right, the Bengals, Joe Burrow, you're not going to win consistently with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback in a league, in a division with Joe Burrow. You're just not. You're not going to win consistently in a division with Lamar Jackson with Jacoby Brissett. You're just not. You have to have the Deshaun Watsons. And if that means giving up a first round or two for 2 years, then so be it. Because like I said, they may not have a first rounder this upcoming season, but guess what? If they don't have Deshaun Watson and Jacoby Brissett ends up being a complete, total hack, then guess what that first round pick was going to most likely be used for? A quarterback. So who cares at this point? Stop trying to stir the pot, Bengals fans. Y'all need to quit it. The Browns did what any logical team would do that needed an elite quarterback. They gave up multiple first rounders. Awesome. Oh, well, you gave him a lot of guaranteed money. You know what's not a problem when you give a guy all guaranteed money is when he performs, and he performs out on that field. That it's going to be fine. Now, he gets injured, he misses a lot of time, or he gets in trouble off the field again. Bite that bullet later. But for right now, they put all their eggs in the basket of him performing on the field, and that's what he's doing right now. Still a little rusty, fine. They're 2-1. They've quietly won 3 of their last 4. They're 2-1 with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. They have a confidence about him. We've seen DPJ emerge. We've seen David Njoku be big time with Deshaun Watson. I feel absolutely fine. They're getting their center back this week, which, by the way, the run game has just been atrocious as of late, even though they've been able to get some of the, if you notice, Nick Chubb's just not as explosive over the last couple of weeks. They get their center back coming up this weekend. Does that mean anything for this year's playoffs? Probably not. Is the door still open for them to get in? Yes, but it's just barely cracked. Big picture, like 3-year picture, because I think the Browns' 3-year window and the Bengals' 3-year window are going to be parallel. Right now, it's easy to say the Bengals are the better team moving forward. I'm fine with saying that. I mean, they have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. All right. They have the offensive line. They have that buttoned up now. They're going to be losing some pieces on the defensive side of the ball, but you just keep replenishing those with the draft picks that you already have. Bengals are going to be fine. But guess what? So are the Browns. So, and you could say the Bengals are better. They're not that much better. That's fine. Bengals could be better. Kev, I don't care. Bengals are better. Fine. Happy? Ho, ho, ho. Merry effing Christmas. The Bengals are better, but they're not better to the point to where that keeps the Browns from doing anything. I mean, hell, look, you've been better for the last couple of years, and you finally got a damn win over the Browns. Christmas came early for you Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, you could barely held on to beat a geriatric Tom Brady, but my God, you finally beat the Cleveland Browns.
With that number 1 pick that they gave up to the Texans have the number 1 pick. Who they going to draft? They're going to draft Bryce Young. They're going to draft Jalen Carter from Georgia, the defensive tackle. They're going to draft C.J. Stroud. Who do you think they're going to draft?
I'm going to say no to Stroud. However, look, everything is predicated around these next couple weeks. Like, right? Like, C.J. Stroud, if he performs big again, if he performs bigly, if he performs bigly against Georgia, Kev, he's set. I think he has a chance. And by the way, kudos to Bryce Young and Will Anderson for playing in their meaningless bowl game. But I also truly believe that I think Bryce Young is kind of playing for something as well. I think that this bowl game is not that meaningless to him because I think Bryce Young understands the point of, he's not guaranteed to be that number 1 overall pick. CJ Stroud's not guaranteed that. I mean, if Bryce Young balls out in this meaningless bowl game and CJ Stroud struggles against Georgia, he's the number 1 draft pick. It's sad that people are that it's that simple sometimes, but it is. It's the lasting memory, not at the combine, but that you see them out on the field in competition. If CJ Stroud, who struggled against Michigan and then struggles against Georgia, that's really going to hurt his draft status, in my opinion. Bryce Young performs well in this bowl game, and CJ Stroud struggles against Georgia. Bryce Young's the number 1 over, but CJ Stroud goes out and balls out against Georgia and leads Ohio State to a national championship. I think CJ Stroud could be the number 1 overall draft pick. I worry about him in the NFL, though. His unwillingness to make plays with his legs, that's going to be not him being a Buckeye quarterback, all right, not any other deficiencies that you could find within his game. They will use his words against him from years past when he said, I'm not a running back in today's whole NFL. Justin Fields, by the way, the only reason that there's even a sliver of hope of him making it in the NFL is because he finally, and good kudos to the Bears, instead of saying, I have no one to throw to, I'm just going to be asked this year. He goes, well, what can I do with my physical strengths? What can I do to be a dynamic playmaker? Fields has that dynamic. Stroud doesn't. So that's something to keep an eye on too. This draft is going to be interesting as far as which quarterbacks are going to get that bump. And by the way, just like every year, there's a quarterback in the draft that we're not talking about, or we're talking about Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. There's a quarterback we're not talking about that's going to get that Daniel Jones love, that's going to get that Baker Mayfield love, that's going to get that last minute, that Joe Burrow. I mean, it was all about Tua. Just joking.
For me, I would draft Bryce Young. I think he sees it better than CJ Stroud. I think he sees the field a little bit better, even though CJ Stroud is like 4 inches taller than him. I think he just sees the game a little bit faster than CJ right now. And I do agree to some point. I don't necessarily think that it's about what Bryce Young, how he plays in this game. I think it's more about how CJ Stroud performs against Georgia, a team that that Bryce Young played against twice. In the SEC championship game, he looked great. And then in the college football playoff, he looked all right. But like those are like opponents. And that's an NFL style of defense. Those are a ton of NFL guys. So, hey, look, man, they're not going to be watching the tape from, no offense, Toledo. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be watching the Michigan tape.
Bash the MAC teams? Why don't you just bash Miami of Ohio while you're at it?
They're going to be watching the Michigan tape. They're going to be watching the Georgia tape. Those are the games they're going to be looking at the tape at, because those are the guys that are going to be playing on Sundays. A lot of those guys, more than just maybe one here, one there. There's going to be like 5, 6, 7 guys from those defenses playing in the NFL. So those are the type of tapes they're going to be watching. For me, I think that Will Anderson and Bryce Young should be commended, but I'm willing to bet we get a Saquon Barkley performance out of those guys in their upcoming bowl game. Remember Saquon Barkley's junior year at Penn State, they made the Rose Bowl. He played, I think they said he played 15 snaps. Important snaps. He scored a couple touchdowns because he's that dang good, but the backup, Miles Sanders, who's the starting running back for the Philadelphia Eagles right now, was the leading rusher for that team. Like, he played a lot more than Saquon Barkley. That kind of like sprinkled him in there. So I'm sensing that, yeah, Bryce Young will go out there, start the game. All right, man, let's get a drive. Hey, man, dudes that's going to be starting next year. Time for you to get some reps. Like, same thing with Will Anderson. Hey, man, third downs, go ahead and call some havoc.
Could this all be a ploy? Could this all be a PR stunt?
Yeah, it's always PR, and it's good PR. It's cool. I don't have a problem with it because, I mean, unfortunately,
I don't
that's
like
where
being got. So I don't want to be got.
I could be wrong, but I think that's what's going to happen. I think that they're going to pull a quote unquote Saquon Barkley. I don't think they're going to be out there because all I can think of, this is, I want to say 2016, 2015, when Ohio State and Michigan played in the Orange Bowl. And this is like right when this stuff started to happen where meaningless bowl games and, you know, big time prospects stopped playing. But remember the tight end from Michigan, Jake Butt, he was high. He was like the third rated tight end going into the NFL draft. He works for the Big Ten Network right now. And Dalvin Cook was on Florida State, and like they had like an interview with both of the guys. And what's the DB from Michigan? Got drafted by the Browns, drawing a blank on his name right now. Anyway, they talked to all three of those guys, and they all said, yeah, we're playing in this game. This game means a ton, yada, yada, yada. And Jake Butt tore up his leg, never played it down in the NFL.
You said Butt.
And Dalvin Cook, obviously everything worked out for him, balling out of control for the Vikings. But like, I think of that guy. That's the guy I always come back to. Like, man, it would have meant something if this was the college football playoff, but it was just the Orange Bowl. And I think that a lot of guys think like that right now. But kudos to Bryce Young and Will Anderson for their willingness to play in the game. And I hope they ball out in the game and get out safe and get drafted and enjoy a lot of money and a lot of great things that the NFL has to offer them, man. But I will go with Bryce Young for the number 1 overall pick. I think he just sees the field a little bit faster than CJ Stroud does right now.
Well, the reason Bryce Young, maybe it is a PR stuff, maybe not. But our quarterback announced he was quitting before the season was even over. I mean, after the Michigan loss, it was just deuces. I'm out, right? And then here's Bryce Young. This is why it just means more in the SEC. It's just
4 months later.
Proof is in the banana pudding, baby. It's right there. I'm just saying.
I mean, we'll never know what CJ would have did because he is playing in the college football playoff.
I mean, with all
his
the QB,
team is playing in the college football playoff.
Of all the QBs that backed into the playoff, he's one of them.
I'll take it.
I'm not complaining. So Richard Boyd on Facebook, real quick, we'll get to Richard Boyd's comment in a minute. Ryan Holzapple said, time will tell on the Browns. Talk is cheap, and I'll wait to see the results of the trade before saying whether it was good or not.
Yeah, man.
Ryan, I mean this respectfully, but what the hell are you talking about? What are we doing? That you are a fan of a team that every one of your annoying fans of your franchise draft Joe Burrow, Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl. there was no wait and see. You just went right on running your mouth. You just went running your mouth. All of you. And the thing is, the Browns are more in a better position to say that we know what we got in Deshaun Watson. We know what we got in Deshaun Watson. If you want to question whether the Browns are good enough as a franchise to build around him, that's valid. But stop being, and I mean this nicely, dumb and acting like you don't know who the hell Deshaun Watson is. We know who Deshaun Watson is. You know who he is as a person. All y'all, I'm just trying to beat y'all to the punch on that one. And we know who he is as a player. All right? More questionable as a person than he is a football player. Football player, he's elite. You know that. I know that. Everyone around here knows that. So stop it with that. If you want to bash the Browns, bash them and say, well, we know they got a quarterback, but can the Browns find a way to win with him? That's valid. I'll shut the hell up at that point because I have nothing to combat that because I've seen nothing from the Browns to justify saying that the Browns have figured it out, Kev. So no, you win that one. You're not going to win this dumb argument that time will tell with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is Deshaun Watson. He's 27 years old. He's elite. He was a top 5 quarterback the last time he played in the NFL. Is he top 5 right now? No. Will he get to that top 5 status? Full off season, play from week 1. I promise you he'll be back as far as having that ability to do it. Will the Browns have enough around him for him to do it? That time will tell. You want to question the Browns? Question the Browns. Don't question Deshaun Watson's elite quarterback. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Talk about Russ. He's gotten better and better every single week. Crickets as far as that goes. But now we need time will tell. Time will tell. Time will tell what? Time will tell what? What are we waiting for? It's a Christmas spirit and you're ruining it for me. My goodness. My gosh. Some guy on Facebook says all they have done was all they've talking about the Browns, and he's right. Andrew Berry, who gets lauded as this genius I think he's a genius with the numbers. I'm a big Andrew Berry fan as far as how he, crunches the numbers. Not been a big fan of how he drafts. A lot of the success that the Browns have been able to have come off the players from, what was the previous GM's name there that's now with the Lions, Kev? The Chaw guy. I mean, he just big old personality. I don't know why I can't think of him. Came from Kansas City or whatever. I know what you're talking about. But a lot of the success that the Browns have had came from the guys that he drafted. Andrew Berry has come over, done a good job with roster financial construction, but he's not going to do a good job drafting guys. So if the whole purpose of taking multiple draft picks, Dorsey. So if the whole purpose of taking multiple draft picks and combining them to turn into an elite player, I'll take that any day of the week over, as some guy says here, all they have done is draft a bum. Andrew Berry has had some pretty bad drafts with few hits. Jed Wills stinks. He says sucks, but Jed Wills sucks. Greg Newsome still has no interceptions. Yeah, I think I'll take a franchise quarterback over 3 dudes like them, and he's not wrong. I'll take the I know versus the I hope. And what I know is Deshaun's an elite quarterback. What I hope is that the Browns can draft and develop and sign enough guys to put around him to win at a high level. That's why all of you haters out there, if you don't want to doubt the Browns, you could doubt them. I got nothing to say. I can't defend them. They've done nothing for me to defend them. But don't be that much of a hater that you sound ignorant when you say Deshaun. Now, time will tell. Stop it. Holzapple, you're better than that. I know you're better than that. You're question the Browns. Don't question Deshaun. Question him as a person. That's fine. Nope. No, you don't hear a peep from me. Ryan Holzapple. Denver thought they knew what they were getting in Russell Wilson. How did that go so far? Deshaun at 3 games is already better than Russell Wilson. So again, what are you talking about? You want what you wait and see. It's just what you hope happens. Like I hope. Okay. I hope Burrow gets to go to Kid Cudi concerts a lot earlier in January than he did last year. Doesn't mean that that's going to happen. Some guys cry and sulk in their feelings after losing a Super Bowl. Other guys go on stage and rap and celebrate. We're all different. We'll wait and see what he does. Anyways. Let's see. Mark Smith, you can't call him elite now. I can call Deshaun elite now because Deshaun Watson's already proven to be elite. He's coming back and trying to get back into the swing of things now, but that's because he missed 2 years. But he's already proven to be an elite quarterback in the NFL. You guys are being ridiculous. What are we doing here? Chris Harreld, do you really believe by the beginning of next year Deshaun Watson is going to be a top 5 quarterback? I believe that he was already a top 5 quarterback, and he's still that same quarterback. It takes time to kind of get his legs back underneath him. Yes. Why not? Why not? Why not? I mean, did he forget how to play the quarterback position? He's 27 years old. To a geriatric quarterback all of a sudden? What are we doing here? There's a difference between what you want to happen and then this bogus stuff that you're putting here in the chat section. Some guy, best players on this team 3 years after he's gone, were still all brought here by Dorsey, and Jimmy Haslam has got us Watson. Jimmy Haslam got them Watson. Barry, what has he got? What has he got the Browns? He got, well, some contract extensions taken care of. Now I'm worried about the Browns. Some guy is correct. Will Limmer, love is blind. I agree. Bengals fans are a prime example of that. Brian Schwederman, who's the Super Bowl halftime show? I got to know who my kicker is going to be watching during halftime.
Rihanna.
You know what? I really would do anything to have your kicker over my kicker. Cade York is not good. Not good. I've seen that dude miss 2 live already this year.
3rd round pick.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, I'm taking a little dive into the upcoming draft. I know that it's not going to be super exciting for us here because the Bengals will be in the playoffs, so they'll be drafting in the 20s, and the Browns don't have a 1st round pick. But a team that we talk about a lot for some strange reason on this show, the Detroit Lions. Not only are they 7-7 right now and quite possibly could make the playoffs, but since they made that trade for Stafford, they get that pick. So right now, as of right now, the Lions would have the 4th overall pick and the 18th overall pick in the NFL draft. What are you going to do with that, especially with that 4th pick? What are you going to do? Because Jared Goff has had a good season. Not great, but he's had a very, very good season. And what if they actually make the playoffs? Do you go out there and get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or a Will Levis or
some guy just said, he goes, who do you think helped rebuild Detroit, by the way? Dorsey. Damn it.
So I'm looking at all this and I'm thinking to myself, it's much like how you were talking about yesterday about all right, man, you get a quarterback that isn't great, but is decent. Do you throw it all away right now to get the young quarterback? Because when you get the young quarterback, anything goes wrong, he fumbles, he drops a snap, he throws an interception, they're going to be screaming for the young quarterback to go out there. Do the Detroit Lions have enough good young talent around Jared Goff right now to dump him to put the young quarterback in? What are you going to do with the 4th overall pick if you're the Detroit Lions?
I would trade back. Unless if you're taking a quarterback, take a quarterback. But this was also the same type of argument that was made about the Bengals back when they had the number 4 pick, when they took Jamar Chase, or was it the 5 pick or whatever it was? I think it was number 5. The difference is there is not a position player that is the equal to Jamar Chase. Like
there's no Jamar Chase, and I don't even think there's maybe I'm sure there is if I really think about it. But is there a 1st overall pick, 1st round pick wide receiver out there?
Not to the level of Jamar Chase. Even the Chris Olaves from last year, they're very good wide receivers, but they're not Jamar Chase.
Right.
Garrett Wilson, very good wide receiver, not Jamar Chase.
They got Jameson Williams. He just came back. He made an impact play, his very first touch as an NFL player, a 41-yard touchdown off the rip. So, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm doing.
They need defense.
Yeah, so I guess
there's a big-time playmaker there at defense. That's what the Lions need to be looking at.
Will Anderson or Jalen Carter from Georgia.
So, we'll see what happens.
If I'm a Detroit Lion, I'm hoping that Bryce and CJ are gone before I draft, so I don't have to make that decision. So I can go with something that I quote-unquote feel is more of a sure thing with an edge rusher or a defensive tackle. I'm going to go give me a dude that just goes and attacks the quarterback every down, like a Will Anderson. That's that, and then you get the kid from Michigan on the other side. He has about 7-8 sacks this season. I think he leads the rookies in sacks, and then you add a Will Anderson to that, might have a dynamic duo.
And as good as the Vikings are this year, the Lions offense, they're not as sexy as the Vikings offense as far as the names on there with Dalvin Cook. And obviously, you look at the fact that you have Justin Jefferson and all that.
He's about to break the bank.
But, he's either about to break the bank or the Vikings are about to hit the blow up button. Because I'm very curious to see what they do the rest of the season.
So this is year 3 for him.
So my point on this is they got to decide who they are. Because again, when you don't have that quarterback, you're running in place. And it's do you pay Justin Jefferson every dime that he is worth when you don't have a quarterback to throw it to him? I know they just won the division, but let's be clear. They was by default. That division is most likely going to be the Lions next year. As crazy as that sounds.
If I'm a Vikings fan, I am terrified of my defense. Like, we gave up 33 points to the Colts.
Yeah, and everyone's talking about the comeback, but how'd you you had to light your house on fire just to put it out to be the hero. I mean, my goodness, like that's not that much to be.
I know one of the touchdowns was them going for a fake punt and they had a very short field, but you still gave up basically like 28 points in the first half to the Colts, a team that hasn't scored over 30 points in a game this season. So I would be like, hey, what's going on here? And I mean, kudos to the offense for getting it all back and winning the game. And kudos to the defense for only giving up 3 points in the second half. But like, you've had to do that a couple times this year. You had to do that with the Bills game where you were down big and made a furious comeback. So, I mean, that's something to look at. But yeah, Detroit might have something, man. Detroit might really have something.
They might have something because they have the cap space, they have the draft picks, and they play in a division that, well, you know what? That's not true. I said it's the Detroit. Like, Detroit has to pay attention. They need to go all defense. I lied. They need to go all defense. They could bring this offense back next year. They're like an elite offense right now. As dumb and weird as that sounds, because they don't trust the quarterback. But Justin Fields is the ultimate X factor right now, because this guy, Justin Fields, is being propped up. Media loves him. Everyone's in love with him. But this is what happens. The new quarterback, like Trevor Lawrence, everyone loves him right now. But Trevor Lawrence will be the most criticized quarterback in the league next year if he doesn't take a massive step. Justin Fields, they go get him weapons and he doesn't take a drastic step next year, he won't be loved anymore. So it's a critical year for the Bears next season, because the Bears have a ton of money. They have a ton of draft picks. They're going to go and reload this roster. They're going to give Justin Fields every weapon that you can imagine. Hopefully it is the Bears at the end of the day. And it's like, if they hit the way that they're supposed to, I think the Bears could be next year's Eagles. I think the Chicago Bears could be next year's Philadelphia Eagles when it all just comes together at one time. Quarterback on a rookie deal, you know, hopefully they flood the defense with some picks of free agency and they help them in offense on the off, you know, in the draft. We'll see what happens there, or defense in the draft and offense. I don't know. That division is going to be interesting in the NFC. We talk a lot about the AFC, but the NFC is also semi-interesting as well.
Yeah,
because flashy.
Because what we talk about free agency and we talk about the draft, but the biggest splashes that were made in the offseason were trades, and specifically wide receiver trades. People gave up a ton of draft capital to not only get wide receivers, but sign those wide receivers to big contracts, like AJ Brown with the Eagles and Tyreek Hill with the Dolphins. Like, hey, take this draft pick for this dude. He's going to fix our offense. He's going to make sure our offense works with a Tyreek Hill. And I'm like, man, we're going to give you a big receiver to throw to, Jalen Hurts. They say you're not accurate. How about we give you a dude that basically is a T.O. clone? Man, you can't miss this dude. Can't miss him. So I think that's something to keep an eye open for, like, guys out there, because there's always somebody that has a contract dispute that always wants to get paid more than they get paid right now.
Look for Derrick Henry. I know it's a running back, but look out for Derrick Henry.
One more big hit.
Titans might be blowing this thing up after this year. Maybe. I say that about everybody. But they're another one, though. Like, the Titans, you want to be the Titans?
Remember the Titans.
Like, I know they're the 1 seed last year, and they're solid. I like Vrabel. I don't think he's the problem. But the Titans they don't have a quarterback. Like, they have everything you need. Or they had everything they needed last year. But there's a reason they moved on. By the way, if they really believed in Tannehill, do you think they move on from A.J. Brown? No. Like, they didn't want to pay A.J. Brown what he wanted, because what's the point? This is why I said this about the Vikings. You pay, like, for instance, Jamar Chase. I don't know how they're not keeping T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, as we talked about. But the reason you make Jamar Chase the highest paid wide receiver in football is because of who you have throwing the ball to him. But if Andy Dalton's your quarterback, you don't make Jamar Chase the highest paid wide receiver in football. That's not a good investment. But you know that Jamar Chase, every dollar you put into him is going to be worth it because of who he has throwing him the football. That's why I think the Titans moved on from A.J. Brown, because it was like, well, he's worth what he's asking us for, but I can't justify giving him this money when we're not a passing offense. So we can't justify it. The Vikings are technically a passing offense, but again, they have to ask themselves, is Justin Jefferson, we know he's worth it individually, but is he worth it on this roster when we have a quarterback that has a ceiling? That's going to be the big thing for them. So we'll see what happens.
After the break, I want to ask you about teams that could actually win it. That we could see winning the Super Bowl from each division, because I'm not sure if I got more than 2 teams from the NFC that I could actually see hoisting the trophy.
Who?
From the NFC. I'm not sure there's more than 2 teams I can say, oh, yeah, I can see them winning the Super Bowl.
And knowing how this works, it won't be either of those 2.
Exactly.
Some guy on Facebook, he brings up a good point. He goes, known commodities. He goes, the Browns whiffed on OBJ, but it's worked out for Philly and Miami grabbing them wide receivers up because they have quarterbacks. Like Miami, they went for their OBJ and they hit.
Mm-hmm.
Philly, they went for their OBJ and they hit. They have quarterbacks. Like the Browns have just been a step behind. Like, you know what I mean? They make the OBJ move years ago with Deshaun. It's a different story. But I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I was high on Baker. I didn't at the time. I didn't think it was a mistake. So we'll see. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. He joins us next. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Yes, everyone's bringing up the fact that it's Christmas time and I'm getting angry. Well, I tried. I tried not to. But Ryan Holzapple, when he said Denver thought they knew what they were getting in Russell Wilson. How did that go so far? He was a proven elite quarterback and Super Bowl winner. I'm not hating here. You can ask Kev. I've never been a Russell Wilson guy. I've always gone back to the fact that he was he benefited from that defense that had a nickname and all that stuff. And the second he got paid, he was one of those QBs that once you give him his money, he's not going to elevate your roster. Just average it. 8-9 win team every year, out in the playoffs, out they go. I've never been a big Russell Wilson guy. I think that Deshaun and Russell are not the same. Deshaun, yes, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl, but he played on a better team. That's just my 2 cents. But Kev, you got a quarter?
I do.
We'll be right back. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM.
At McAfee, they're more than just an air temperature company. They're an air quality company. Breathe easy. Choose McAfee.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Give the gift of a Dayton tradition. Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps. Milano's gift cards are the perfect way to give good times and those favorite subs and pizza to family and friends. Right now, for each $25 Milano's gift card you buy, you'll get $5 more free.
Ohio sports fans, I got some great news for you. Starting on January 1st, DraftKings Sportsbook will be live in our state. And to celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets when you sign up today using code WING1410. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity, licensing requirements. 1 per new customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms and official rules at DKNG.com/OH.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals begins with specials on select business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to Ohio. To kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. And it gets even better, because when you refer friends, FanDuel will hook you up with an extra $50 in free bets. Sign up today so you're ready to play on day one when FanDuel goes live right here in Ohio. Then you and your friends can bet on all of your favorite teams and all of your favorite sports. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app to get started. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Join today with my promo code Kinner, KINNER. You'll get $100 in free bets plus an extra $50 in free bets when your friends join too. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio starting January 1st of 2023. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks, friggin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits, a $25 Frickers gift card, and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. Let them get what they really want.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on our Friday.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we know it's a Tuesday, but it's our Friday, and that is all that matters.
Buckle up,
It's a
world.
long weekend.
Very
What's
long.
this damn weather we're supposed to be getting this weekend?
It's called an Arctic blast.
No, it's not what I call it. FCC won't let me call it what I want to call it because I got to drive in the stuff.
Me too. Whoa. Yo, you almost let one slide, bro. Chill out, man.
They don't find you for almost.
So I'm going to my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. My mom is having a panic attack about the Arctic blast and, family members coming into town and everything like that. So, yeah, fun times.
What is an Arctic blast?
The temperature is going to drop and it's going to snow. So it's going to be around, I don't know, like 2 degrees starting on
the temperature
Saturday.
drops and it snows. That's called winter. So
No,
I need a more descriptive.
But it's going to be 40 plus degrees, and then it's going to have a basically 45 degree the other way.
The other way?
Yeah, the other way in less than 24 hours.
Interesting. Speaking of the other way.
Yeah.
Watching that Raiders Patriots game.
Bruh.
Patriots going one way, and the Raiders get it, and they take it the other way, and I know our next guest is pretty happy about that. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. Jason, how are you, sir?
Man, let me tell you, if the cops didn't come to my house Sunday, they're never going to. I now know I can get away with anything because, I was screaming like a preteen girl at a New Kids on the Block concert in the late 80s. That was wild. I've never seen anything. I've seen some weird endings in my life. I've never seen anything like that. I'm still shookest by what that means. So absolutely incredible. And by the way, Bill Belichick no longer coaches a disciplined football team. Let's just change that narrative.
Oh, man. So fun fact, my brother who lives in Las Vegas was at the game. My brother never FaceTimed me. Only time we talk on FaceTime is when me, him, and my mom have family discussions. So he's FaceTiming me. And of course, I send him the voicemail because I think it's a butt dial. And then he FaceTimes me again. He's like, please tell me you watching the Raiders game. Please tell me you watching the Raiders game. I'm like, no, it's not on in Dayton, Ohio. He's like, go to Twitter right away. Call me back. I see it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did that really just happen? But it did.
I mean, and I was screaming the minute that you saw Chandler Jones get it. Your first thought is he's going to trip somewhere, and then he starts running, and it's like, oh, and for somebody that Chandler Jones has had just a waste of a season for a guy that got paid a ton of money. I mean, to have that moment come around for him, it's amazing what one play can do to the way an entire season starts to feel, because the wheels have fallen off on the Raiders when they have a 10-point lead going into the half. They're terrible. And that win just changes the way you feel about all of it every single week.
I'm trying to think, and I think this is a good. We haven't done this topic yet, but we should. What is the most exciting way that your team has ever won a game? Whether it's a game-winning shot or some kind of, a pick six to win a game, or just a Hail Mary. I mean, my goodness, that has to be. I think you've already answered that, but you said it's the wildest finish to any game you've witnessed. But as a fan of a team, not a wild finish to just any game, but the team that you follow, for your team to win a game that way. I mean, I'm trying to think for me of the teams I follow. I mean, I follow some crappy teams, Jason. I usually see my team lose those that way. So, I mean, it's interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, no, it's the all-time greatest ending I've seen. I don't know. The year that the Raiders a few years ago beat the Chiefs, and there was pass interference on like 2nd and goal, 3rd and goal, and 4th and goal. Basically, they kept getting shot after shot after shot in the end zone, and then managed to complete a pass in the end zone with no time left. That was pretty exciting. But to see this play, again, I think there's a couple of things that we got to remember about it. Why are you handing off from your own 45-yard line against the defense? It's a prevent. Like, that makes no sense as a play call. You're not going to suddenly trick anybody. Also, even if you do trick anybody, why are you then suddenly lateraling the football? Like, it either
with a tie score.
Yeah, like it's terrible judgment, and it's bad coaching. Like, the coaches put the players in a terrible situation, then they poorly executed. Like that. That speaks to who the Patriots have been all year. They are not well coached, and that, I mean, Belichick's the guy that hires the offensive coordinator, defense coordinator. Those were bad hires. Mac Jones has regressed. The offense looks bad. The roster's not good enough. Like, I think Belichick has really failed his team this year.
I mean, the Patriots have been involved in some of the craziest games this season. Obviously, the punt return versus the Jets to win the game, and now this situation with your Raiders.
Yeah, well, and by the way, speaking of punt returns, let's also remember the Raiders got a block punt earlier in the game when the long snapper didn't know the snap count, punted before the rest of the team, or snapped before the rest of the team was ready. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's just, those are the mistakes I'm used to seeing the Raiders make, not the Raiders' opponents make.
Well, I tell you what, I'm happy for you as a Raiders fan, but your Raiders can kiss my blank, because, I'm looking at these standings. I'm like, my goodness, like the Browns. I mean, the Jags should have lost and the Raiders should have lost, or at least had a chance. So the Browns would be at least sitting right behind the Jets, right there, just on the outside looking up. And now I had to scroll to find the Browns in the standings. The Raiders, the Jaguars, the Jets, the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Chargers. Here's the problem for the Browns, though, Jason. They've lost to the Jets. They've lost to the Patriots. They've lost to the Dolphins. They lost to the Chargers. The Browns aren't getting it. But it's, you had to ruin that for me.
Well, and you're right. They're not getting in. But what's crazy is that there's so much chaos ahead of everybody. Like, it is really interesting right now to look at the schedules, because the Raiders still have to play the 49ers, which is a game they're not going to win. And then they have to play the Chiefs at the end of the year. So also a game they're likely not going to win. So it's not like this season has a storybook ending for me. But you can look across the board and see tough games left for the Jets. I think the Jets are in a really difficult situation to make the playoffs. Miami could implode. It wouldn't surprise me at this point. Like, there's very little I believe in from, the middle of the pack in the AFC this year.
So the Cincinnati Bengals travel down to Tampa Bay, and they're down 17-0. And then they score 3 points headed into the half, and then the wheels fall off for the Buccaneers. The Cincinnati Bengals defense goes, I'm going to just take the ball away from you every single time you get it in the second half. And the offense is working with a short field that second half. What are we to make of that performance from the Cincinnati Bengals offensively? Because we know what to make of it from defensively, because they just took the ball from them. What do we make of it from the offensive standpoint from the Cincinnati Bengals? Because be clear, they weren't able to really move the ball in the first half, but then in the second half, they were only working with 30 yards until they got to the end zone. What do we make from that?
Yeah, I still think that you're talking about an offense that's dynamic, that can score on anybody from any time, from anywhere. I think the Bengals are the best team in the AFC right now. And yes, the Bucs had to lose a huge lead. I had our stats and info group look into it. This year, we have seen more blown leads than any other year other than one in NFL history. And what's really crazy is the win percentage of teams that are up by 10 points or more in any game this year is the lowest ever in NFL history. Usually they win about 88% of those games. This year, they're winning about 70% of those games. That is math. Blown leads are part of the narrative. So who's going to win this year? A team that can score on anybody from anytime, anywhere is going to have the advantage because you're going to have a game where you're trailing or where you got to fight somebody off. So teams like the Titans that can't just generate points, I don't trust. Team like the Bengals that can, I do trust. Like, this is just the pattern of this NFL season. Can you be explosive on a dime? Can you flip that switch on at any point? The answer for that is for the Bengals is absolutely yes. And Harry Douglas said today, like, you've got a quarterback that, you know, obviously has massive grapefruits, and that just is always going to put you in a situation to win when you've got absolutely incredible weapons you're throwing to. So the Bengals, no matter how they won it, the Bengals clearly right now to me are the best team in the AFC.
Didn't you say something about grapefruits today too? By the way? Jason, I remember you had you had an interesting grapefruit joke. I recall hearing that, by the way.
If my aunt had grapefruit, she'd be my uncle, was what I said. I wasn't sure I was allowed to, but let's say I went for it. I went for it.
You dribble in your shoe.
You know, Jason, you talked about the blown leads, and earlier in the season, we were just looking at the Ravens like it was something wrong with them for blowing leads to the Bills and blowing leads to the Dolphins. But you looked at stats and info, and this is like the thing of this season. Teams are blowing double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think what it tells you is a couple of things. You got a lot of bad secondaries in the NFL across the board. They're just bad secondaries. You got teams that rely on the pass rush like the Cowboys, and if they're not getting home, then you got a problem with it. The other part of it is, look at the offensive production. This is not a year where a lot of teams are running the ball well. If you cannot run the football, you cannot hold a lead. You've got to be able to get first downs on third and short running the football. And there are not a lot of teams right now that seem to be able to maintain possession late in games. So if you can't maintain possession and big plays are happening at a huge clip, you're going to get beat. So it really does come down to, I think, in the playoffs, who can be balanced enough to control the clock when they need to and explosive enough to score in 3 plays when they need to. There are not a lot of teams that, frankly, can do that. So Bills are a great example. Like the Bills, you know, they run the ball okay. They throw the ball incredibly well, but they're tackling they're tackling right now is straight doo-doo, right? And you can't tell me that you can trust the lead when you can't tackle somebody.
Jason, the Jaguars out of the AFC, you know, we talked about them just a few moments ago, or at least the Titans we talked about. But, you know, I'm talking about the Jaguars kind of looking up, just being a couple games out of that 7th spot. But honestly, I think that they're looking at the division. I mean, we thought the Titans, who were 1 seed last year, had that division wrapped up. That may not be the case. They're kind of, you know, they're falling a little bit. The Jaguars, they have an amazing schedule. I mean, that schedule is so Jaguars friendly, and they actually end the season at Tennessee, or have the Tennessee Titans coming to them. I'm sorry. So, I mean, they have the Jets, they have Houston, Tennessee. The Jags win out. I mean, they're in, right? Like they're maybe as the division champs.
Yeah, I think the Jags have a real shot at it, partially because of the implosion of the Titans. The Titans' offensive line right now might be the worst in the NFL. And when you've got Derrick Henry and you're trying to run the ball, but you got the worst offensive line in the league, you got a quarterback that's not comfortable, and you got no weapons. And I mean, even Tannehill went out in the game, came back. They don't have any way to generate production when they need it offensively. And defensively, they got a lot of problems. Again, they were a team built to be able to rush the passer. They've had a lot of injuries, but they haven't gotten draft picks right in the secondary in years at this point, you know, other than Kevin Byard, the safety. So for me, the Titans are poorly constructed, and right now they're playing below their ability. That's a bad combination. The Jags are well constructed, and they're playing above their ability. Doug Peterson has figured it out with Trevor Lawrence, who's limited the turnovers. Their offense is able to do really well. Zay Jones has played nicely in that role for them. And Christian Kirk, like guys that we laughed at the wide receiver position getting paid, are out there. They're out there getting results. I mean, the Jags are a tough offense to stop. They've played really well. Their defense is playing well enough. I think the Jags could go in and beat the Titans the last game of the season and get the division crown. That's wild. That's going to make heads roll in Tennessee. Oh, it's going to be fun to watch.
I'm ready. I'm here for it all. You know, we got the college football playoff coming up on New Year's Eve. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, TCU. CJ Stroud, he's a hot button issue here in the state of Ohio because a lot of people question his toughness because he doesn't ever leave the pocket. Can Ohio State Buckeyes beat Georgia without CJ Stroud putting it on the line? And when I say that, I mean actually running and using his legs and putting his face in there and getting dirty as opposed to being, you know, clean in the pocket.
Here's the reason that's going to be an issue. I think Georgia is the best coached defensive team in the country. And the thing that they do better than anybody defensively is they take away what you're good at, right? And they did that to Tennessee in ways that Bama couldn't. They were able to take away what Hendon Hooker was good at. They were able to force Hendon Hooker to be patient. He couldn't handle that. He wasn't ready for it. CJ Stroud is not going to be able just to sit back there and throw. Like, it's not that the defensive looks are going to be too complicated. Georgia's had too much time to get ready for this. Ohio State is going to have to come out with a better game plan, and Ohio State's going to have to be capable of doing two things well, throwing the football, which means he's either going to have to be able to maneuver in the pocket or he's going to have to run with the football. One of the two is going to have to happen because I have watched Georgia. Georgia is the new Bama. They simply restocked. They are playing incredibly well. And, yeah, they've gotten carved up defensively with some big passing numbers. A lot of that has been trash time touchdowns. I'm not really worried about that portion of it. I think they can confuse C.J. Stroud. So I think he's going to have to be really strong on short and intermediate passes. He's going to have to be very fluid in the pocket. He's going to have to move around a lot. And, yeah, if he could actually run the football a couple of times, if they can force themselves to have to account for him actually taking that portion of the offense, that changes everything. I think Georgia wins that football game pretty handily.
Jason, real quick on CJ Stroud. Kev, sorry, real quick, I'm jumping in, but last year he had said something, or he was facing criticism for not running the football, and his response was, I'm a quarterback, I'm not a running back. And the reason I find that response fascinating is because although not many people bring it up now, I think it could be a comment that comes back to bite him come draft analysis time, because if you look at Justin Fields, he throws the ball really, really well, but he has no one to throw to. So he's had to make a name for himself utilizing his legs. You know, there's already that perception out there that Buckeye quarterbacks, that there's just something about them that don't work in the NFL. So there's already things working against Buckeye quarterbacks as it is, whether we like it or not. Could that mindset, could that quote come back and haunt him? And it's not just the quote, Jason, it's the play on the field backs that mindset up that he kind of put out there. I think that could be something that he gets heavily criticized for and could, as you just talked about, play a role in that semifinal.
No, 100%. And look, part of that's going to be because Will Levis, who I don't think is worthy of being a top 3 pick, is going to run the 40 in an astronomical time. Mark my words. We're going to watch Will Levis at the combine, and everybody's going to say, oh, my God, look at the athleticism. And then they're going to fall in love with it because that's what Levis does really well. I don't think Levis makes great decision-making on the field, but he is a hell of an athlete, and people fall in love with that. Like, we live in a Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields. People want a dual-threat quarterback that will force you to account for multiple things. Like,
until it's time to pay him, by the way.
1,000%. 1,000% correct on that. 1,000% correct. Yeah. But you're right. I think it will come back to haunt him for sure.
So Will Anderson from Bama and Bryce Young say they're going to play in their bowl game. And Kenner loves it. Kenner loves it. I
not quitting on their team, baby. I love it.
Would you recommend those young men playing in this bowl game? Because it is a quote-unquote meaningless bowl game, as Kenner has pointed out as well.
They're meaningless.
Yeah, hell no. If I was on this staff, I'd look at both of those young men and say, guys, you've given everything we could ask you to give, and we really appreciate it. Number one, we're going to get some reps for somebody that needs it for next year. Number two, don't put your body at risk. There's just nothing to gain. Like, these are two young men that are going to get wildly paid in a few months. And that number could go down by millions of dollars by deciding to play in that football game. They always tell you that come injury time, what do we always hear? That coaches got to save athletes from themselves. If I was a coach on the Alabama staff right now, I would save my players from themselves, and I would absolutely tell two guys that are about to play on Sundays for generational wealth that they shouldn't come anywhere near the field.
Promoting quitting. Tisk, tisk. I'm so sad for both of you. What has this world come to? Last thing on this, Jason, we'll let you out, but we do a game called Cap or No Cap, and we throw out a little a little statement, and then we decide whether if it's cap. But Kev taught me this. I'm really cool now. I know the lingo, so it's really cool. So cap means lie, and no cap means truth. Correct, Kev?
Correct.
All right. So cap or no cap.
The awkward way you say cap or no cap is really this is the best part of it, my friend. This is the best part of it.
Oh yeah, people love making fun of me for it too. Trust me. So cap or no cap. It's the one time a week where I get to be cool. So with that being said, here's one of our cap or no caps. Having the number one transfer portal class is more important than having the number one recruiting class in today's college football. Jason Fitz, cap or no cap?
No cap, because we live in an immediate results society. So you got to stock the cupboard every single year. And I know I mentioned this to you guys before, but like Mel Tucker, look at what he did at Michigan State his first year. He went out and absolutely hammered the transfer portal. Look at what Lincoln Riley did the first year. Went out and hammered the transfer portal. Like, especially if you're a coach that's out there that's coming to a new school, you don't have 3 years to build your recruit. Like that whole argument that has lived for a generation of, well, this is finally my recruiting class so I can see what we look like in year 5. That's on, y'all. Like, you ain't getting to year 5 if you stink. So you need to get out there and you need to immediately slam the transfer portal. And then you need to be able to just nicely sprinkle in transfer portal additions throughout the course of your recruiting. I think at the end, by the time this all normalizes, it's going to be a mix. But right now, in today's world, boy, you better win the transfer portal every year, because if you aren't, somebody else in your conference is.
Yeah, I said earlier, I'm like, if you are a Colorado fan, because, there's millions of them. If you're a Colorado fan, are you going to feel good if Deion Sanders comes out and has the number 1 recruiting class for 2024? Are you going to feel good about that? Or if it comes out that he has the number 1 recruiting class for 2023, I think you're going to feel better about that. So I think I agree with you. I think he said no cap, right? That means he agreed with it, right? Just making sure. I'm just making sure. So there's that.
Kenner's trying to be cool.
Well, if
there is no cap to that, my friend, that is absolutely capless.
Well, if I was cool, I wouldn't sound as awkward saying it. But a wise man also once said that if my aunt had grapefruits, she'd be my uncle. So there you go. So that was Mr. Jason Fitz.
I heard somebody at the beginning of this say you can't get fined. You don't get fined for almost, right? Oh. So come on now.
All right, good stuff, Jason. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Again, we have Fitz and Harry coming on January 3rd. In fact, you guys have had a little soft opening, as I heard you allude to it earlier today, filling in on Bart and Hahn. It's been pretty cool hearing you guys already. Excited for that, and appreciate that after 3 hours of work today, you still made time for us over here. So thank you.
Always, my friend. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you guys. Really appreciate it.
Later.
All right, good stuff. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy, a high near 40. Tonight's going to be partly cloudy and cold, a low near 22. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy, a high near 42. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
If you only wear red and blue and nothing gets you more excited than supporting your Flyers, Flyers Spirit is the place for you. It's easy to show your Flyer pride with our wide selection of great merchandise. Cheer on the Dayton Flyers with style. We're stocked up for the basketball season with your favorite brands, including Antigua, Under Armour, Nike, and Champion. Whether you're shopping down on Brown Street, on campus, or in the arena, our staff and students are ready to help you find all your Flyer gear. Shop online anytime at shop.udayton.edu.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? But taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to promote heart health and slows down sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. Start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
At McAfee, they're more than just an air temperature company. They're an air quality company. Breathe easy. Choose McAfee.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Dell's Days of Deals start now with fresh, limited quantity deals each day on tech to power every passion. Save on select XPS laptops and Alienware PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget, special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and monthly payment options with Dell Preferred Account. Just call 877-ASK-DELL for Days of Deals savings. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
It's time to get together at Milano's. Gather with friends and family at the Dayton tradition. Milano's pizzas, subs, and ice-cold beers. It's the best way to celebrate the season. Can't come to us? Bring Milano's home with delivery and pickup at milanosubs.com.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Need that special tool to complete your next project? Menards has all the necessary tools that are right For you, we have a huge selection of professional-grade Bosch power tools and accessories. From drills, saws, and sanders to routers, saw blades, and more. Visit a Menards near you for all of your Bosch power tool necessities. Plus, get a Menards gift card, the perfect gift this season.
More season's greetings to you all from Menards.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Updated COVID vaccines are here, just in time for the season that brings us all closer. Just in time for added protection against the original COVID virus and Omicron. Just in time for crowded stores and great big family dinners. Updated COVID protection is here. And if you haven't had a vaccine since September, it's time to give yourself the gift of updated protection. Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Dayton's favorite Casano's Pizza King is open for delivery or carry out at any of their 33 locations. Call 294-KING and see for yourself why the proof is in the taste. That's 294-KING. Pizza King.
This is Doug Ute, Executive Director of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. High school coaches can be the biggest influence on kids having a positive experience in sports. Sports set the foundation for life lessons that remain long after playing days are over.
This is Gene Smith. Please join Life Sports at The Ohio State University and the Ohio High School Athletic Association as we partner with the Susan Crown Exchange on its Million Coaches Challenge. Get involved and learn more at go.osu.edu/CoachBeyond.
Attention! If you owe money